Welcome, dearly beloved anointed ones. Let's not waste time, let's get straight to it. The most terrifying part of waking up is realizing you were never the crazy one. You were just surrounded by people who needed you to think you were. Sit with that for a second. Really let it sink in, because here's the truth: not tomorrow, not next week, not after your next breakdown, tonight something irreversible is going to activate inside you. And whether they admit it or not, the world around you is going to feel that shift. It's already happening. Let's start with a hard fact. A 2023 study on social mirroring found that most people suppress their most authentic selves, not because they don't know who they are, but because they're trying not to trigger the truth in other people. Yeah, let that land. The average person is literally acting just to stay digestible, to avoid making others uncomfortable with their realness, but you've always been the glitch in that system. You've always made people uncomfortable, not because you were doing anything wrong, but because your presence refused to lie. And starting tonight, you stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for being different. You stop fitting in where you were never meant to. This is the moment you start broadcasting a frequency they told the world didn't exist, and here's where it gets hilarious. Have you noticed? The moment you start healing, glowing up, doing the inner work, people from 7 years ago just pop up. Like unpaid extras in a Netflix series. Hey, just checking in. No. You're not a check-in. You're the plot twist. You're the storyline they thought they'd closed but didn't realize was just heating up, so buckle up, chosen one. This isn't some surface-level self-help. This isn't spiritual bubblegum. This is the episode where everything changes. And by the end of it, you're not just stepping into a new identity. You're becoming what they secretly hoped would never show up. Let's go. Number 1, you will become a mirror that burns, not reflects. You're not here to reflect who people pretend to be. You're here to expose what they've buried deep. And starting tonight, that's exactly what your presence will do. Not a safe, flattering mirror, but one that burns through illusion. You're done reflecting back people's curated identities. Now, you start revealing what's really underneath. The guilt. The lies. The fake confidence. The fear of being irrelevant when someone real walks in, and the wild part. You won't even need to say much. Your energy will say everything. Just your presence will start making people squirm, not because you're hostile, but because you're too real for their performance. Most people aren't afraid of judgment. They're afraid of being seen. Fully. Deeply. Without a filter. And that's exactly what your presence does now. It strips away the costume. You'll start to notice it. People getting defensive around you for no reason. Acting weird. Over-explaining themselves. Getting quiet. And it's not you, it's them. Their masks are literally melting in your energy. They can't keep up the act anymore. They might call you intimidating. Arrogant. Cold. But that's not what they mean. What they're really saying is, you don't let me lie to myself anymore, and I hate that. People love mirrors that make them look good. But when the mirror starts showing the truth, suddenly, they want to smash it. So yeah, they'll try to twist your truth into a problem. They'll accuse you of being too much. But deep down, they know. They know exactly what you are: proof. Proof that their carefully crafted image is cracking. That kind of power. It's rare. It's not flashy. It's quiet. It's piercing. You start walking into rooms and giving people two options: confront themselves, or run. And many will run. This isn't about ego. It's not about being above anyone. It's about a kind of inner clarity that turns you into spiritual X-ray vision. You don't just see people. You see through them, and yeah, it can be lonely. Misunderstood. You'll get labeled. Misjudged. Hated, even. But that's the cost of carrying real light. The kind of light that burns through illusion instead of bouncing it back. starting tonight, that fire in you. It locks in. You're not just a reflection anymore. You're the flame that shows everyone what's false. Number 2, you will become proof that spiritual warfare is not a metaphor. Let's talk straight. This isn't a theory. This isn't woo-woo fluff. For chosen ones, spiritual warfare has never been poetic. It's been life, and tonight, you start seeing it for what it truly is. No more second guessing. No more confusion. It's not bad luck. It wasn't just a hard season. You were being watched. Studied. Tested. Not just by people, but by the systems they unknowingly serve. Every betrayal. Every ghosted friendship. Every isolated chapter. It wasn't a coincidence, it was targeted. They gaslit you so well you started gaslighting yourself. You began questioning your intuition. You thought you were paranoid, oversensitive, dramatic. But no, you were discerning. You were right, they cut you off not to protect themselves, but to disconnect you from your power. They flooded your life with drama, chaos, distractions, not to keep things interesting, but to keep you tired. Tired enough to stop noticing what's really going on, and worst of all, most of the people who played a role in that spiritual attack had no idea. They thought they were just doing what's best for them. Setting boundaries. Moving on. But spiritually, they were being used, because when your frequency threatens the system, you get marked. You get studied. You get attacked. Not because you're weak, but because you carry something ancient. Something rare. Something they can't replicate. You weren't allowed to move through life like everyone else. You were constantly being pulled, stretched, stripped down, not because life hated you, but because you were being trained in silence. In private. In the shadows. And now, you're emerging from that training with clarity. With vision. With strength that doesn't shake. The betrayals weren't personal. They were strategic. The losses weren't punishment, they were positioning. The isolation. It wasn't abandonment, it was initiation. Tonight, you start seeing the board. You start recognizing the pattern. The veil lifts. And you stop asking, what's wrong with me? You start realizing, you were the threat all along, but not to people. To systems. Systems of illusion. Systems that tremble at the sound of your name now. Because you're not the one being hunted anymore. You're the one holding the map. Number 3, you will become a frequency that corrupts false systems. This is where things really shift. What's happening to you right now isn't just some personal growth phase. It's not a self-help glow-up or a good vibes trend. Your frequency, your actual spiritual resonance, is starting to do something dangerous, and by dangerous, I mean disruptive to the systems built on lies. You're not just vibrating higher. That phrase doesn't cut it anymore. You're becoming a living glitch in the matrix. A walking, breathing spiritual interference that false systems can't process. When you enter a room now, something shifts. People who thrive on manipulation, ego, fear-based control, they'll feel it immediately. Their charm won't land the same. Their manipulation tactics won't work. Their presence will start to glitch in real time, because your energy won't let the illusion sit quietly anymore. And no, this isn't about being better than anyone. It's not about being untouchable. It's not even about being confrontational. It's about the level of truth you're now radiating, clean, clear, untamed. You've been broken down. Rebuilt. Dragged through the shadows and forced to heal in silence. And all of that stripped you of the layers that used to let you blend in. You're not someone who can camouflage anymore. You're becoming a signal that disrupts lies. People won't always be able to explain it. But they'll feel it. They'll feel their masks start slipping. Their performance energy won't hold up. Their usual methods of control will begin to fail, because that's what happens when truth enters the room. Your aura. It's now a force of revelation. Not judgment, not shame, revelation. You don't even need to speak up. Your presence alone will make people squirm in the best way. It invites reflection. And if they're not ready for that reflection, they'll project. They'll push back. Or they'll run. That's why you might start noticing weird reactions. People avoiding eye contact. Conversations suddenly feeling awkward. Jokes falling flat. Energy shifting when you speak your truth, even gently. You didn't say anything wrong. What they're reacting to isn't your words, it's your frequency. It's that inner alignment, that nervous system that's now tuned into what others are still ignoring. You're not just sensitive, you're precise. You're reading signals in a room that most people don't even notice are there. You'll even start noticing your relationship with technology changing. Devices glitching, lights flickering, weird static moments when you're in deep flow or high presence. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual circuitry aligning with your evolution. You'll stop being able to tolerate certain environments, not because you're fragile, but because your spirit simply refuses to dilute itself to blend in. You can't go backward now. You can't pretend anymore. And anything built in darkness, it starts to crumble in your light. Let them call it intimidating. Let them misunderstand. That's not your concern anymore. You've become too spiritually expensive for their cheap performances. And you don't need to shrink to make anyone comfortable about that. Number 4, you will become a timebreaker. This is where the laws of how things have always been begin to collapse around you. You're not just evolving, you're interfering with the entire concept of time. You're stepping into a level of spiritual maturity that doesn't just shift your future, it rewrites the past. You're about to break time as they know it, patterns that have ruled your family for generations. They stop with you. Cycles people said just run in our blood. Done. You're the exception. The interruption. The divine reset button. Everything you do now, every choice, every thought, every healing act, it doesn't just move forward. It ripples backward. You are literally sending waves through your bloodline. Through timelines. Through memories, and that's why you've been feeling that pressure in your chest lately. It's not anxiety. It's not fear. That's data. That's a spiritual download, a memory activation, an ancestral alignment. You're receiving divine intel. The kind of insight that can't be learned in books or through advice. It comes through remembrance. Soul memory. It's not new information. It's ancient truth returning to the surface. You're the one your ancestors dreamed of. The one the past version of you prayed would show up, and now that you're here. The past can't keep its grip on your story anymore. People from your past might suddenly reach out. You'll cross their mind for no reason. They'll dream about you. Hear your name randomly. It's not random. It's your energy vibrating across dimensions. Your existence is bending timelines. And it's not just about you. Your healing is global. It's cosmic. You're realigning things that have been off balance for generations. You don't need closure anymore, you are the closure. You are the justice, and get this, even your past self will start to feel it. You'll feel like you're meeting a version of you that never got the love, the truth, the protection they needed. You'll sense them, watching you, being restored through you. That old self that once tolerated things they didn't deserve. They're being redeemed every time you say no now. Every time you honor your boundaries. Every time you choose truth over people pleasing. That's what it means to be a timebreaker. You don't just rise, you correct. Denial won't save them anymore. Gaslighting won't work anymore. The lies people told about you, they start to fall apart in real time, because your growth creates collapse, your evolution triggers exposure, and everything fake that was built around your name. It starts to self-destruct. Number 5, you will become the secret they hoped you'd never remember. Here's the truth, they didn't just try to hurt you. They tried to bury you. Under noise, shame, busyness, distractions. Hoping you'd forget where you came from. Hoping you'd never remember what you're made of. they filled your space with fake stories, false timelines, twisted mirrors, all designed to keep you asleep. To make you believe you were small, powerless, ordinary, but what they never planned for was the return of your memory. And I don't mean memory like thoughts or nostalgia. I mean deep, soul-level remembrance. The kind of knowing that roars through your body without warning. And tonight? That roar begins, you've felt it your whole life. That haunting sense that something was off. Like you were watching life instead of living it. Like everyone else had a script and you missed the memo, that wasn't confusion. That was your soul trying to wake you up. They told you you were too intense. Too sensitive. Too out there. But what they really meant was, you were too awake. You saw too much. Knew too much. Felt too much. You made them uncomfortable because you refused to fully forget, but now the programming is cracking. Your divine memory is bleeding back in through every crack they couldn't seal. And when that remembrance hits, it changes everything. You weren't just someone they tried to silence, you were the one they feared would wake up and speak. Well, now you're awake, you remember who you are. A direct descendant of purpose, of power, of light. A disruptor by birthright. And no amount of trauma, manipulation, or distraction could erase that forever. You are the revelation they tried to delay, and it's too late. You've remembered. Number 6, you will become a quiet storm, not loud. Not flashy. Not begging to be seen, just undeniable. There was a time when you needed to be heard. When you tried to explain yourself to people who were never really listening. When you hoped someone, anyone, would just get it, but now. You don't need to prove a thing, you've entered a new phase, you are still. But you are not stagnant, you are silent. But you are not asleep, you are grounded now. Anchored. Not easily shaken, you used to swing between overreacting and over-explaining. Now. You just observe. You move with discernment, not desperation. You've become a storm that doesn't need thunder to announce itself. You don't chase closure. You don't argue with projections. You don't entertain anything that pulls you out of your peace. And let's be clear, that peace you carry. It's earned. Built through battles no one saw. Chosen over and over, even when chaos begged for your attention, now people feel that peace when they're near you. They don't always know what it is. They just feel safer. Or more honest. Or more exposed. It's not because you're judging them. It's because your calm confronts their chaos. Quietly. Without trying, you are a storm that shakes foundations, not through rage, but through resonance, and people will start to notice that the version of you they used to know no longer exists. The old you would have chased, explained, defended, performed, but this version. You witness. You bless. You release. You are a quiet storm. And you're not here to be understood, you're here to be felt. Number 7, you will become a mirror they can't look away from. You've probably already noticed this. Some people start acting strange around you, not because you changed your tone, not because you confronted them, but because being around you makes them confront themselves. You're no longer giving out the same old version of yourself. You're not catering to fragile egos, not shrinking to avoid tension, not pretending everything is okay when it's not. You've stopped being a filter. Now, you're a mirror, and mirrors. They don't lie, that's why your energy is unsettling to the unhealed. Not because you're attacking them, but because you reflect the truth they've been avoiding. Your clarity makes their confusion louder, your honesty makes their avoidance more obvious, your self-respect makes their manipulation stand out, and again, you're not doing this to them. You're just being who you've become. But your presence is an invitation, heal or hide, some people will rise to meet you. They'll be drawn to your growth. Inspired by it. Even if they're not there yet, they'll be willing to look at themselves honestly, but others? They'll flinch. They'll project. They'll label you as cold, distant, arrogant. Don't internalize that, they're not seeing you, they're seeing their reflection in your light. And some people can't handle that kind of exposure. You are the mirror now, you will not be broken just to make them more comfortable. And the people who are meant to be in your life, they'll recognize the mirror as mercy. Number 8, you will become a vessel that ancestors speak through. Now we're going deep, you've noticed the signs. The whispers. The synchronicities, certain numbers. Certain dreams. Unexplained knowings that no one taught you, but that feel older than you. That's because you're not just waking up for you anymore. You're becoming a channel for the wisdom of those who walked before you. You are not alone in this transformation, you've got backup, ancestors. Guides. Spirits that have been waiting for this exact moment in time to pass you the code, and they chose you. Not because you were perfect. Not because you had it all figured out, but because you were willing to heal what they couldn't, willing to break what they were forced to uphold, willing to remember what was almost lost. You are now the walking answer to ancient prayers, your voice. It's not just your own. It carries echoes of people who weren't allowed to speak. Who weren't allowed to rise. Who weren't allowed to survive, and when you speak truth now, it's not just for the present, it's for them. That's why you're being called into spaces you never expected. Given insights that don't match your experience. Holding wisdom your years can't explain, because you're carrying more than just your story. You're carrying a legacy, and from now on, your steps will shake things loose, not just in the present, but in the past and future too. This isn't just alignment. It's ancestral fulfillment. And finally, number 9, you will become the ending they didn't plan for. You weren't supposed to rise like this. You weren't supposed to survive like this. You were supposed to fold. Stay broken. Stay quiet. Accept the script, but here you are, rewriting the whole story. You're the plot twist no one saw coming, and now that you're here, there's no going back. You're going to trigger people just by being real, you're going to disrupt systems just by being alive, and you're going to fulfill destinies just by being yourself. So listen closely, you're not too late, you're not behind, you didn't miss it, you are it, the sign. The shift. The storm. The secret. You are the prophecy that disguised itself as a misfit, the legend hiding in plain sight, the ending they didn't plan for, and the beginning. It starts right now.